Hello, friends. This is Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Hi, everybody. This is Nancy from Nancy Inspired. And for those of you that are new here, I have a gift that I call soul telepathy, in that I am able to hear what your soul is trying to tell you. When I do individual readings, I tap into what your soul is trying to tell you. When I do a collective like this, it is tapping into what is the messaging that's relevant for everybody this week. Oh, I just noticed my beautiful nails. I don't know if you can see it. My granddaughter did them for me, a 6-year-old manicure. So I feel very special. All right. So yes, I tap into everybody as a group to start with, and then halfway through, we do a tap into individuals. Don't put your name in yet for individual readings because I will lose it in the chat. When I'm ready, I'll tell you, and then you can put your name in. Those people that were here last week that I didn't get to: Annika, Angela, Shanna, Shauna Ray, Dora, MK, and Michelle. If you are here when I get to that part, I will put you first. All right, if you still want one. So, all right. Then, without further ado, I'm going to just connect to all of you. So, can I, may I, and shall I? I feel like I just needed to take a deep breath there. Can I, may, and shall I do a reading for my Insight Timer friends and family? Both those that listen now and those that come on later. Clear yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? I can already feel the energy shift. I don't know if you can see the pendulum. Yes, you can a little bit. It shifts, and so no, there's no reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time. Then I ask that everybody's intuition be raised to the highest level that they can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow their souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. I believe that when we're doing the individual reading part, that if it's something that's important for you as well, as you put your name forward, it's because somebody else also needs to hear the same message. So hopefully things resonate with everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, Fleur and Johnny and Char, Anna. Yes, beautiful community, and thank you. Lovely Anna. I had a shower today, so my hair is doing some, not that I don't usually, but I literally just showered, so my hair is doing some fun poofy things. So, all right. It's funny because when I first started doing lives, I was like a bit insecure about, because I see myself in the camera as opposed to I see your little bubbles going across the bottom of the screen. And at first I was really like, oh, I gotta put makeup on, I gotta do my hair and da-da-da. And then now I'm just like, you know what? This is me. this is me. Like it or like it, love it, whatever. But this is me, and I don't feel like I should have to, get all dolled up for delivering messaging. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of liberating to let go of some of those things and just like, you know what, this is what I look like. So letting go of that is a certain amount of freedom. All right, Julie. Hello, everyone from England. Thank you, Fleur. I appreciate it. It's funny because as I age, I care less and less what I look like, and more about how I feel and my health and that kind of thing. Like it's shifted. Whereas in my 20s, it was all about what I looked like. And now, yeah, I just, whatever. All right, let's get started. All right, let me hear. First bit of messaging for my Insight Timer friends and family. All right. It's in the sacral chakra. All right, so it kind of goes along with what we were just talking about. Surprise, surprise. I find that happens a lot. What I'm hearing is who you are at the core is absolutely not dependent on anyone else. Now, that said, I'm hearing, we're born into these skin suits. We're born into the lives that we are born into, right? So that includes how we're raised, our family structure, our culture, where we live, later on, our relationships, like all of those things shape how we feel about ourselves. But what I'm hearing as a message today is that we are absolutely not intrinsically linked to outside perceptions of ourselves. And that if we can remove our sense of self from external sources, we will achieve some higher level of vibration, higher level of happiness. I'm also, as I'm saying happiness, I'm hearing the pursuit of happiness is, it's a tricky thing. It's a slippery slope, right? Because as you pursue more happiness, then you realize you're unhappy and that kind of thing. But what I'm hearing is that there are a lot of situations around us, and I get caught up in this very much so. There's a lot of situations around us that make us feel more or less worthy, or more or less wanted, or like we belong, or like we're enough, right? And a lot of that comes from a sense of comparison. And it also has to do with how we build relationships, how we form bonds, in terms of our upbringing and who we were as children. But no matter what I'm hearing, and this is tricky because, I know as an educator how relationships are formed early on really affect our sense of self. But what I am hearing is that no matter how you were raised, no matter how you connected or didn't connect, no matter whether you had friends in junior high or didn't have friends in junior high, yes, it affects our skin suit level of learning, is what I'm hearing. That's the careful wording I'm hearing. It affects our skin suit level of learning, but our soul, our self, our deeper part of who we are, is not connected to that, those shapings. So, okay, this is the analogy I'm hearing. When kids go to school, right? When kids go to school, they're part of the school, they belong at the school, they have their relationships at school, they have their positive and negative experiences, they learn some things, they, connect in certain ways, whatever. But when they leave school, right, those experiences shape them, but they are not intrinsically connected to that school. That is a place of learning. So they build experiences and building blocks, is what I'm hearing, building blocks, but they are not intrinsically connected to that school. So when they move on to a new school, or they move countries and they go to a school there, the learning continues. They are not intrinsically connected to that school. That is the example that I'm given to help us understand that how we are raised and how we've had experiences connecting and whatnot that has shaped how we feel about our self-worth is external. That the internal part of us, that who we are, is learning and growing and changing and morphing and evolving and elevating, and it is not dependent on this particular skin suit, on this particular school. So this lifetime that you're leading, this set of experiences, this set of connections, this background information is the word that I'm hearing, is like our school. And so if we think of it in that broader perspective, and we dig into that part of ourselves, that soul part that is connected to divine consciousness, to collective wisdom, has timelessness on our side, and that there's been many lifetimes, there's been many times when we connect to that deeper part, this lifetime, this skin suit, these experiences is one school, is one classroom, is one set of experiences. And so we can glean what we can from it, because you make it you make it what you put into it, right? So we can glean these experiences, we can experience these connections, but our intrinsic sense of self-worth, who we are inside, is not dependent on our outside experiences. It is not dependent on our outside relationships. It is not dependent on how much money we have, how big or small we are, how we dress, how we look, how we identify, how anything. That is not what our sense of self, that deeper part of ourselves, is only connected to that divine wisdom, divine source, God energy, and that collective consciousness that we are all a part of. So when we put it into perspective like that, no matter what our previous experiences are, it doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. Those have just shaped our learning. And just like I'm sure none of you can remember a particular lesson in long division in grade 4, right? You get the sense of remembering what grade 4 was like and maybe what it was like to experience long division. You're not going to remember specific things. That is what we're being called to look at right now. That our sense of self-worth, our sense of magnitude is the word that I'm hearing. Our sense of magnitude and expansiveness is not reduced to somebody's opinion of us or somebody's how we compare ourselves to other people. I love that. Our expansiveness and our magnitude are not dependent upon the opinions of others. I love that wording, that phrasing. So, that said, to honor and the words I just heard, honor and excite ourselves about who we are at our core, and all of the skin suit flaws, foibles, insecurities, and whatnot pale in comparison to the magnitude of the light that's within every one of us. And so allow ourselves to connect to that deeper part, that light part, that being that is magical and amazing. And that's the part that we're connecting to. And what other people think of us or our comparisons, pale in comparison. What a beautiful message to start off for today. I'm happy with that one. Hello, Anna. Thank you. Beautiful with or without makeup. I'm just lazy. And so putting on makeup and doing all that, I'd rather be playing with my plants for my granddaughter than, to each their own. Some people love makeup and that's their creative expression. And I'm like, all the power to you. But it's just not my thing. And hello, Stephanie, and hello, Jerry. Hello, Alicia. Wonderful. I really enjoyed that first bit of messaging. All right, moving on. Let's see what else we hear from where, from where? From you and from the cosmos. Okay. All right, and that's the next bit of messaging. All right, so that is the next bit of messaging. Is I just said, the messaging from where, and I know that the messaging comes from all of you as a collective. If I was talking to a different group of people, the messaging would be different. This is for you, the people listening now, right now. There's 36 people here at the moment, and those that come on later, the messaging is for you. However, the other part that I heard was, the cosmos. What does that mean? And this is what I'm hearing as a message, is that, okay, it's a little hard to explain because I'm getting feelings as opposed to actual words. So it's like I have to translate it. Again, the expansiveness. We talked about the expansiveness of ourselves not being, reduced to what other people think of us or our own self-comparison. There's also the expansiveness of infinite wisdom that we also don't need to reduce. So we don't need to have labels for it. We don't need to have a label that says this is coming from here and this is coming from here and this is coming from here. This is an expansiveness that feels like love and bliss. When I receive the messaging, it always feels like love and bliss. So that's when I know that the messaging is for me and for you at this moment in time. And we don't need to have names for it. So, okay, this is what I'm hearing to tell you. So I'm hearing to tell you a story. So when I first started working with my mentor, it was a while ago now, just to help me understand some of my gifts and also help me to control some of my gifts, because, you could imagine when you feel people to the level that I feel people, walking into a room of people could be difficult sometimes, because I'd hear all kinds of things and be like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that? And so working with my mentor, she taught me how to, quiet it down and just hear what I need to hear when I need to hear it. So I'm not just like a walking conduit all the time. Now, that said, at one time while I was working with her, she was telling me about Archangel Michael. And at the time, I hadn't really done, like, the angel work didn't resonate with me. And I think the reason why is not to get super personal, but my conflict at the time with the church at the time. And so I didn't really resonate with angel work. But anyway, she was explaining Archangel Michael and what Archangel Michael feels like in terms of this, white swirling light. And it's like this sword that sort of cuts away everything. And as she's saying it, I'm like, oh, like I know that feeling. I know that feeling personally and intimately. Like I that's how I clear myself. That's how I connect. It's like this thing. And as she's describing, I was like, oh. And I realized that this, white light and whatnot that I connect to is the same thing that she called Archangel Michael. Now it's interchangeable for me. It doesn't matter. And that's the point that I'm hearing to tell you, is what we call it, the names matter to some degree when you're learning about things and exploring things, but it's that understanding, that knowing, right? That knowing. And whether you call it Archangel Michael or this bright, white light that, cuts through things for you, it doesn't matter. It still is that connection. And so what I'm hearing is that there's lots of us that sometimes get caught up in, oh, I don't know enough about this, and so we don't connect, right? And I'm hearing that all of these things, all of these tools are available to us all the time, because we are divine beings. We are made of the same stuff. And so we are connected when we need it. And sometimes just getting caught up in the words and caught up in the experience, rather than like truly connecting to the experience, can sometimes hold us back. Here to tell another story, again to do with the angels, which is interesting, because like I said, I've never really resonated with angel work. All the power to anybody that does. Again, like as I'm saying, whether you connect this way or that way, doesn't matter. It's all still part of the connection. Well, I do a lot of free flow journal writing for myself. When I want to tap in and get my own messages, like I do for other people, I do free flow journal writing. And one time when I was writing, I asked my journal or my journaling, my messaging, where is this messaging coming from? Like, I know it's from my deeper part, but what's the conduit? What's helping me? And I heard the word Yariel, like Yareal is how I spelt it. And so then I decided that when I was doing my journals, I always send my journal with an N for Nancy, or when it was free flow, I'd put a Y for Yariel. Anyway, I was at a sound bath, and the lady that was running the sound bath had a little bit of an accent, and as she was speaking and she was calling in the angels, she called in Archangel Uriel, but the way she said it was Yariel. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness, is that who I've been connecting to? And when I'm doing my, and then I looked it up, and Uriel is the angel that helps for intuition and wisdom. And so it was like, okay, and then a part of me got kind of insecure for a minute, I'll admit, where I was like, oh my God, is that actually like what's happening? And so then I actually asked, I was like, well, how can you be available for me anytime I need it, and available for everybody else every time they need it? Which is, I think, one of the reasons why I didn't resonate with angels. And the answer was that it was like air. Air is available when we need it. if we need to breathe, we get to breathe. And I can breathe and you can breathe, and we're all taking in air at the same time, different places, different times, different ways. But it's accessible to us whenever we need it. And I was like, oh, okay, I can actually wrap my head around that. So, point said, and this is the main messaging, is don't get caught up in, I don't know enough about this, or I don't understand the inner workings of this and that. When you feel that connection, when you feel that sense of guidance and help, and it always feels like love and bliss, at least for me. It doesn't matter what we call it, and so we can access those things. So don't put up blockages for yourself, because you may or may not have all the learning and the information. It's available whether we understand it or not. And when we need to tap into it, it's available. That's all I'm hearing on that one for now. No. All right. Is there anything else that needs to be talked about with that? No, we're good. All right. So, next bit of messaging. Definitely like the messaging today. Nice and light and beautiful. Hello, Carolina. I hope we don't lose you on the metro. Thank you for listening. It always blows me away that, people spend their Sundays, for a couple hours listening to me. If someone would have told me this a few years ago, that this would be a regular thing and that people would actually, want and look forward to, a regular live event with me, I would have laughed at them. Now here I am loving Sundays because I love the connection with you. All right, next bit of messaging. What do I hear? Okay. All right. So this one is about belonging. So this one, again, kind of similar to some of the things we've already been talking about, is about connectedness. Now, okay. What I'm hearing, okay, I understand. Okay. So, what I'm hearing is that there's different forms of connectedness, okay? And some of it isn't actually connectedness. Some of it is maybe sharing space, or proximity, but not actually connectedness. And authentic connectedness does not require the word I just heard is transcends time and space. Authentic connectedness transcends time and space. So we have, the word I'm hearing is illusion. We have an illusion of connectedness. So what I'm going to call the beer commercial type, connectedness, where it looks like everyone's just having a great time all the time, woohoo, that's not necessarily connectedness. You can have a bunch of people in the same space having a good time, that aren't connected at all, right? What I'm hearing is that don't get caught up in the illusion of connectedness, and instead sit with the understanding, that's the words I'm hearing, sit with the understanding that interconnectedness, connectedness comes authentically from inside ourselves, that comes authentically from that place of light, from that place of being. So you and me right now and the 52 people here are just as connected in this moment, in this time, energetically, as we would be if we were sitting beside each other. And what I'm hearing is don't underestimate the power of energetic connectedness. That you can connect energetically. A little bit confusing. What I'm hearing is not just on the human realm, but on the etheric realm as well. Okay, I understand. So it's like a satellite. I don't know what else to call it, but I'm getting imaging of, as our being, as our etheric being, as our soul level being, as that deeper light body part of ourselves, kind of wishes to connect, has a desire to connect. It sends it out, and then the connection is there, either through divine connection, collective consciousness, situations like this, where you can connect to others even though we're not sitting in the same room with each other. And I can tell you, I can tell you that when I first did a live on Insight Timer, I had done some lives before, and I've done lots of collective readings, like to an audience, to people in front of me. The first time I did it on Insight Timer, I actually was brought to tears afterwards. When I ended the live, I was brought to tears because it felt so beautiful. The connecting of this energy of all the people here that are on varying levels in their journeys from moment to moment. Sometimes you're like, yes, I'm right on point. Sometimes I'm like, I'm floundering. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. But we are all on it. We are all on this plane together in this moment in time. And the first time I did a live collective reading like this, I actually, I was almost overwhelmed by this beautiful feeling of connection. And every Sunday that I'm here doing this, I feel that. Anytime I join someone else's live, I feel that. So that's a tangible example, because we're all here. We can feel that, right? But that's what I'm hearing, is that actual authentic connectedness is not limited to time and space and contact. In fact, genuine connectedness transcends that and is more powerful even than proximity connectedness, which is interesting, because there's lots of times when, if you're hanging out by yourself, you're like, well, I'm by myself, and it's hard to remember sometimes that we're all connected. I know there are times, when I'm hanging out with my granddaughter, that I'm like, I'd love some adult company, like just an adult to talk to. Not that I don't love talking to a 6-year-old, but and I can feel lonely sometimes, but the bigger picture is that we are all connected. We are all connected by that divine wisdom, connective consciousness, source energy. The deeper part of our souls have the ability to connect whenever we need to, whenever we want to. In fact, it's not even when we need to and want to. We actually just are connected. We are all a big net, that is elevating consciousness together. And the more sort of good vibes that we put out onto that net, the more we connect our light to the light of others, it elevates the entire net. It's like a candle in a dark room. You light a candle in a dark room, and there's some light. You light a bunch of candles, and there's even more light. I did a little experiment with some students who were doing some character education. I think it was grade 3s and 4s at the time, and we talked about how you could be a light and how that ends up spreading for others. And so we turned out the lights, and so it was very dark, and gave one child a flashlight, and then gave another child a flashlight, had them come up, and another child, and by the time there was like 7 or 8 kids with flashlights, the room was pretty well lit. We could see everybody. And that is what I'm talking about. That we have that ability to create that light, but also we are connected to that light whenever we need to. It's just a matter of clicking it on, just like a flashlight. So, yeah, another beautiful message. All right, we're on a roll. Yes. And Fleur is our songwriter, our resident songwriter. During one of these sessions, the song Tidal Wave of Love came through me. Awesome. So I was talking about it and joking that someone should write a song about it. Yes, that's right. I remember that. It came through, and I feel I want to share the raw version that I recorded right then during the session. I might edit it. Feels good to share this version now. Anyone who wants to receive it, you can find me on Insight Timer. Send me your number. Awesome. All right. So Flora, I remember that. I can't remember what we were talking about because that's one thing. That's why I record the first part of these sessions, is because when I'm channeling messaging, as much as I resonate with the messaging, I'll remember parts of it, but I really don't remember from week to week what I've said, especially when I do individuals. I don't remember. I'll do a reading for you, and then 2 days later we could talk and remember when you said, and I don't remember. So yes, Fleur, I do remember that a song came through for you, and I remember wanting to hear it, but I don't remember what it was about. So yes, I will message you, or absolutely send it through. All right, tapping in. What else is for my beautiful insight timer people? Okay, this is a good one. I love it. All right, so sometimes when the messaging comes, it's like blah, 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 and I'm like, okay, now slow down. So we are all made of light. We are all made of energy. We are all made of it's like soul contract. This is the plan. This is the program of studies as an educator. We've come here with this is what this lifetime's about, that we need to learn. Right? All right. Now, oops, sorry, I just almost lost you for a second there. Almost exited. Okay, we're all energetic beings. We're all light beings. We're all here learning and growing and expanding and researching. So this is what I'm hearing, is that if your life is not going exactly according to plan, so you woke up as a baby at some point and became cognizant of this lifetime and said, this is what a good life looks like. Depending upon the culture you're from or the family you're from, it means certain things. For a lot of women, I know there's pressure where it's like, well, you're a woman if you're a wife and a mother. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way, or, different things, our lives don't pan out exactly as we are hoping the journey looks like. What I'm hearing to remind you is that everybody's journey is different. There are certain norms, traditions, cultures, whatever, that give us some guidelines. But your light body is what I'm hearing. Your light body has come here to learn and do and evolve in a certain way. And because of those things that you need to learn, evolve, and grow, or I just heard, and teach. Sometimes we have different experiences in order to become teachers and guides along the way. I know for myself, being married to a very narcissistic human, I can now greatly empathize with other people that are going through that by having different situations that have come up with my children or with my family or different things like that. I can now empathize, and it helps me to be able to guide and teach and coach and whatever. Not that I'm a coach, but maybe one day. And so sometimes it's because our souls have come here to learn that and to evolve, and sometimes we have to have that experience so that we can teach and guide. But what I'm hearing as the underlying message is to recognize that we are ultimately light beings. We are ultimately timeless and expansive and part of that divine source energy. We are part of that. And so if our journey doesn't look like what is supposed to be, and I'm putting that in quotes because there is no such thing as supposed to be. If your life has taken some turns left and right, your life has had some ups and downs, and I guarantee every one of us, there's 72 people here now, guarantee that every one of us has had some ups and downs and all overs. Those are not failures. Those are not, and I'm hearing to say that again loudly for you, those are not failures. Those are learnings. Those are experiences. Those are part of this journey. That is part of whatever it is, you need to learn and grow so that either you evolve or you can help others evolve. The ultimate goal of human life, this is what I'm hearing, direct words. The ultimate goal of human life is to elevate human consciousness, that we are working very hard to elevate human consciousness. There are a lot of forces that are working hard to drag human consciousness down. We are working hard to elevate it. And one of the things that drags it down is these expectations of this is what it's supposed to be. And if you're not doing this, then you're not enough, or you're not this, then you're not enough. And so it makes us feel like unless our lives are following in step by step by step by step by step order, that we're not successful. Well, what I'm hearing is that your learning is your success, your experiences are your success, your connections are your success, your energy is your success, your light is your success. And sometimes, the people that have the hardest knocks sometimes have the brightest light. And that's why, is because you are your light, you are your success, you are your soul contract. And what it actually looks like and manifests in this lifetime has all kinds of twists and turns. And so if you are feeling right now that somehow things didn't measure up, and I know for myself, there's things that I look back and I'm like, oh, that was such a mistake, and I'm still paying for that mistake. Well, was it really a mistake, or was that the exact learning I needed in order to grow and become strong? And I'm hearing right now that there's some people that are saying, yeah, but my mistakes cost my family or cost my kids something or cost whatever. And I'm hearing to tell you that they're also on a journey as well. They are also here to learn and to grow. And so the very things that maybe cause them some challenge are the very things that they're being called to grow and learn from, so that they can either evolve or in turn help others evolve. So when you're feeling like your life has taken a turn that maybe you don't love, it'd be so much easier if I just had not done that, blah, 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 which I hear myself saying all the time, to remember that this is part of the journey. And that when we reframe it that way, it's no longer a challenge, but a learning. It's funny because my granddaughter and I often will say, puzzles, not problems, that it's not a problem, it's a puzzle. It's something that we need to fix. We need to figure out, right? And some of the biggest experiences in our lives, when I look back on my life, the biggest experiences, the most painful, the most challenging, the times when I thought, oh my God, I just don't even know where to go next. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to my family? Why is it, And when I look back on that, I'm like, oh, you know what? Some of those times were my biggest moments of growth, or they've inspired me to then go out and teach, or they've inspired me to try and learn as much as I can and then be an ally or whatever. And so, if you look back on your life, some of those really painful times are those times that you grew and learned the most. Doesn't make it easy, doesn't make me like, oh yeah, this is great, bring on the bad stuff. No, thank you. I'd love to say I'm good. I've done lots of learning. I don't need more. But when you reframe it that way, it doesn't change the situation, but the situation is what it is. Whether you look at it as learning or whether you look at it as something terrible that's happening to you, or a bad choice that you've made or whatever, looking at it as learning, it doesn't change the situation, but it does change how you deal with it. It does change how you internalize it. It does change how we react to it. It does change how we elevate from it. So yes, we've all made mistakes. We've all made bad choices. We've all have consequences of bad choices. However, those are all part of our learning. And when we reframe it that way, all the crappy stuff becomes an opportunity for growth and learning, and again, it's not about false positivity. It's about, it doesn't change the situation, whether you look at it bad or good, positive or negative, challenges or celebrations. But it makes it a little easier to navigate when you think of it that way. And, it's funny because sometimes I'm able to do that. Sometimes I'm able to say, yeah, that really crappy situation was a great bit of learning. And then the next day I'm like, oh my God, why did that happen? And that cost this and that cost so much. And, I'm still paying the price for that. And then back to what a great bit of learning that was, And so we also have to remember that it's a journey. And sometimes it's easier for us to connect to I just heard the words, our light body. And sometimes we are more centered in our skin suits, but they are both on this journey together. Hearing to tell you another little story, when I was at a yoga retreat last year, actually at this time I would have been on the plane heading to Mexico for that retreat. When I was at the retreat, there was a lot of introspection, a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga. And at one point, while I was laying in Shavasana, I heard, a voice. I don't know exactly what it was, why, where it was, but it said, "Thank you for housing me this time around." And it made me kind of start, because I struggle with body image. I used to really struggle with body image, not as much anymore. And all of a sudden it was like this, it was like thanking me. So it's like this deeper part of my soul was thanking me for housing this skin suit, housing this deeper light body part of myself. And that perspective sometimes is necessary, because the day-to-day stuff, the problems, the challenges and whatnot that are our skin suits, this this body, this house that we're living in, has its problems, has its challenges. But when we remember that, inside all of that deep, I was gonna say inside, but it's actually, I don't have a word for it. The idea of inside, outside, everywhere, all at once, that part of ourselves that exists inside, outside, and everywhere all at once, connected to divine spirit and source energy, is borrowing this at this moment in time. And so when we can reframe and look at it that way, then some of the challenges and struggles and learnings and whatnot become kind of interesting in terms of, it's almost like reading a book. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a look at the chat because I see that it's been moving here. Thank you so much for the donation, Anna. I really appreciate that. This is my gift every week. I do this as a business as well. Well, a side thing. But when I come onto It's Anytimer, this is my gift to you. But I really do appreciate the donations as well. All right. And Hannah, we're going to look at your, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Yes, Beautiful Oopses. We talked about that before. I love that book. It's a little children's book. Love this. I realized this after my near-death experience and manifesting my way back to walking and talking again when the doctor says it was impossible. How beautiful, Alicia. I realize life is happening for me and not to me. My soul has chose this, so I learned the law and could teach it. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful, Alicia. I just got shivers, and that is, I'm all like goosebumpy. That is exactly an example of what I'm talking about. You could be wallowing with every right for the crappiness of what's been given. But to be able to elevate, and I'm certain you can't be elevated all the time. That's we are in these skin suits, but that's exactly what it's about. It's about recognizing that there's more to this journey than we realize. Carolina and you, beautiful Nancy, are inspiring and encouraging and uplifting to my journey of raising consciousness. Fabulous. If I can inspire any one of you for any moment, then that is my work. That is what I'm here for. When I was given this gift, I was told that my job is to elevate human consciousness one person at a time. So if I'm doing it, one-on-one in an individual reading, or with 84 people here now, just keeps growing, then I'm doing my job. So if I've inspired you in any way, any one of you, then I'm doing my job. And Perspective is everything. Absolutely. And then some love for Alicia, 100%. Cheyenne, this is really encouraging as someone who struggles with who I am. Some days I don't even want to walk outside, but I just need to be reminded of what matters is me. Oh, your beauty is such an encouragement. You're so sweet, Cheyenne. Absolutely. And I again just got like tons of energy for you. Just remember that you are not what other people think. You are not how you've been treated. You are not attachments or non-attachments that were there or weren't there for you. You are a beautiful divine light being that has come from divine source energy, that has come here on this planet, on this earth, at this moment in time for a reason, which is why you matter and you're important. And all those external things that we connect ourselves to, we attach our self-worth to, don't mean crap. It is who you are as a light being. That is what we are. And when you hold that light inside, then nothing can bring you down. Well, yeah, I say that, but then the next moment happens and I'm like, oh. but we try. All right. I'm on this journey with you, my friends. All right. Hannah, I needed this message this week. I'm giving evidence in court tomorrow after leaving a domestic violence a year ago. I'm trying to keep a positive perspective on the situation while I move through the process. Hannah, my heart is with you. That my daughter was just going through a similar thing, and yeah, the system is not set up, to really, provide that support. So we are here. We are all sending you love, Hannah. Hi, here to donate. How much would you like? Oh, you, Avalon, I appreciate that so much. You, whatever you feel, just your presence is beautiful. Here, the little hearts going up. Donations are always welcome because ultimately, yes, I would love to be able to do this full time. I would love to be able to travel and come to where you live, and host a collective reading event. That's what I would love. So donations, yes, every little drop helps, but honestly, this is also my gift to you as well. All right, Cheyenne, that means so much. Thank you. Needed that. Wonderful. I do walk my purpose. I'm so grateful this happened to me. It's changed me into a better person. What an amazing perspective, Alicia. What an amazing perspective, and one that can teach others. So I'm actually hearing for you right now. Maybe we're going to jump into the individual readings, but Alicia, I'm actually hearing for you right now that your message, your story, your inspiration is actually necessary. Other people need to hear it so that they can also recognize that the things that have happened to them in this lifetime are just part of the journey, part of the light that we're meant to spread. So yes, 100%. Please do. AJ, Nancy, your thoughts on how to engage with others lost in duality from a space of oneness. Oh goodness, how to exist in an egoic society without being from the ego. Good question, my dear. So what I'm hearing on that is exactly what we were talking about before, is that to recognize that we are energetic beings first. And all the stuff, all the words, all the stuff, all the actions, all the things that are going on are coming from a different plane, like it's the skin suit plane of existence. And when we are connecting from that energetic space, like we are right now, when you're having authentic heart-to-heart connection, when you're sharing a moment, when you're sharing a smile, when you're sharing laughter, when you're sharing a compliment, when you're sharing a space with nature, when you're hanging out with animals, whatever it is, when you feel that elevated sense of vibration, that is when we are truly connecting to that energetic light being, and all the other stuff is just stuff. It's hard to sift through. It's hard to sift through the stuff. 100%. I struggle with it myself because you're right. It's such an egoic and toxic, often fear-based, put down kind of world out there. But underneath all of that, and again, I just heard it's not underneath, it's inside, outside, everywhere, all at once. I wish I had a proper word for that. Inside, outside, everywhere, all at once is also this energetic divine connection that we are able to connect with at all times whenever we need it. So that is it, that's where we need to derive our sense of being from. Jackie, this is my first time hearing your messages are exactly connected to what's been coming up for me this week. I believe in divine timing, Jackie, and that's why I record these and I do post them, just the first part, because I believe that when people are called to come and listen, it's because there's a message that they need to hear. And sometimes it's exactly what we're thinking of. It's like that book that's on your shelf for years, and then all of a sudden it just sort of jumps out at you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to read that, and the messages are exactly what you needed to hear at the moment in time. Divine timing. Divine timing. Divine timing. Alicia, Avalon, hello, I just think you're so inspiring. 200 pounds. Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, thank you, Avalon. That is really, really, really appreciated from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, this is a gift that I give. I'm just getting shivers. Wow, thank you. I really appreciate that. To all the donations, thank you. And the hearts and just the love of being here. All right. I'm going to switch into, wow, I'm kind of like, wow. All right, I'm going to switch into readings for people. So let's, I know it's moving quickly. Let me just, let me see if I can catch up here. Hold on. So, and the people that, I'm just going to write everyone's name down, and the people that were here from last week, I'll do them first. So, Jackie, Shabbat, it's jumping so much. Annika, oh, I'm going to